Now here's Ted with Toyota's radical new Previa van.
Well, chalk up another first for Toyota. Their new Previa minivan is almost a dead ringer for Buckminster Fuller's Dymaxion car, which he made in the early 1930s. But although it's obviously not the Dymaxion car, far from it in fact, this is still the most futuristic-looking car on the road today, with the possible exception of the Chev Lumina APV and Pontiac Transport. Where it parts company with its General Motors competitors is in overall execution. I've got nothing against the APV and Transport, but they are not as refined as the Previa. Toyota has put a tremendous amount of research and development into this vehicle, and it shows. Inside, for example, the two back seats can be folded up against the inside walls, giving a cargo capacity of 85.3 cubic feet with the midship seats in place, and a remarkable 157.8 cubic feet with them taken out. You can load up a 4x8 sheet of plywood or 7 adults, no problem. There's lots of other interesting bits and pieces too. This combination cooler ice maker, dual sunroofs, drinks holder, a huge top-loading glove box, and storage nooks and crannies all over the place. Power for the Previa is supplied by a 2.4-liter twin-cam 4-cylinder engine that develops 138 horsepower at 5,000 RPM, and 2 transmissions are offered, 4-speed automatic, 5-speed manual. We tested the automatic this time around. And prices start at $19,998, going up to a rather hefty $31,393 with all the trimmings. So although I was impressed all to bits with the Previa, I do have a couple of criticisms. First and foremost, it needs more power. If you're carrying a full complement of passengers, getting up a steep grade takes longer than it should, and reserve power on the highway is minimal. However, Toyota have plans to bring out a turbocharged version sometime later this model year, which is a good idea because a V6 won't fit. Secondly, the engine in the Previa is difficult to get at, to say the least. Toyota has tipped it on its side and located it roughly in the middle of the vehicle, under the front passenger seat. They claim you can get at it within 10 minutes, but it involves removing the bucket seat and unbolting a floor panel. I wouldn't want to have to do any work on this engine. And, according to Toyota, I won't have to. Engine maintenance is not required until 90,000 kilometers have been put on the clock, and you can get at all the basic points, such as oil and coolant level, power steering pump, battery, and alternator through the front hood. A couple of other negatives. Ingress and egress, my favorite, is still tricky. It's better than the van it replaces, but still a little awkward. Also, because of the glass, the Previa gets very warm inside when the sun shines. If you're planning to buy one, get an air conditioner with it. And finally, you really get buffeted around if you leave the rear sunroof open on the highway. Still, this is a marvelous piece of work. It's extremely drivable, very comfortable, and is bound to be reliable. Bucky Fuller would approve, I'm sure. The competition for the Previa comes mainly from the APV and Transport, but you can toss in just about all the other minivans, including the Chrysler T-Wagons, Mazda MPV, Nissan Access, and even the Volkswagen Vanagon. I guess the word that best describes this thing is remarkable.
Well, it is, but I think that the Achilles heel of this product might well be the engine location and the fact that you can't get a V6 under there. I love the styling. It's a wonderful looking van. It's the obvious rival for the Mazda MPV, which is kind of the class of the market to me. It's got a wonderful interior, and you get the promise of Toyota's reliability.
Well, this is one time we have to take the manufacturer's word for reliability, because it's my opinion, as I mentioned in the footage there, that if you're driving along, especially in eastern Canada, if you're driving along a road with all the frozen ice and salt and crap on the road, it's got to splash up into that engine bay, and I think it's a real drawback.
Well, that's true, and it worried me. The first time I looked at one of these, I put it up on a hoist and went underneath, and all the fuel injection control and so forth, a lot of the minor parts associated with the engine that are quite delicate, really, little bolts and washers and so forth, are all exposed to that cloud of saline spray that you get, particularly in eastern Canada.
And you're really at the mercy of the manufacturer, because this is the kind of thing that will have to be serviced by the dealer. You'd never get this fixed at a local garage. Well,
no, you wouldn't, I suppose, but Toyota has a pretty good chain of dealers, and I don't think anybody needs to worry about that. But I think that it's got some very good features. The fact that those seats fold up into the sidewalls of the van, to me, is a very, very fine flying feature that nobody's thought of before. I can't figure out why it's not been cleaned up.
No, I like the thing. I like everything about it. This motor does cause me some anxiety is the word I want. Toyota were at pains to show us how easy it is to get at the motor if you have to. But, you know, who wants to go through all that nonsense? Taking up the seat, lifting up the floor panel?
Well, it's difficult. In their defense, I'll say that most modern engines are so well made and they're so reliable with electronics and so forth that they really don't need any attention very frequently. Now, and also, you shouldn't really be messing around with your own engine these days. I mean, how much can people do to an engine? It has to be done by a dealer.
All right, well, to sum up, red light, green light, what don't we like about this thing? Engine power is minimal. Turbocharger's on the way, which is just as well. Engine access is terrible. Don't even think about working on it. Interior heat is a problem if the sun shines. I found that. On the plus side, cargo capacity is very, very impressive, and there's all kinds of accessories, as you usually expect from Toyota. In terms of driving dollar value, I have to give it 3/4 of a tank. Again, this is a pretty good vehicle with a lot of things going for it. The engine worries me.